Ooh.
Beautiful. But it's all, we can edit it all, so there's no...
oh, that's good.
No need to get it right first time. Anyway, but it's only
All right.
chit chat.
Okay.
Alrighty.
So what happened with me was I was running a highly successful publishing business, which took me out of the country 2 or 3 times a year around the world. It was really, actually getting me down because it was very, very stressful. I thought, I've got to really get out of this rat race and do something different before I collapse. And
fair enough.
Yeah. I don't know why I went into dog training, but I do know that I approached several trainers here in Melbourne and said, I'd like to work with aggressive dogs. And both people, but 2 of the people anyway, backed off. And then one of them said, okay, you can come and I'll give you a 2-week course. It'll cost you $4,000. And I said, well, I don't really care. I want to get into something different. So off I went and I learned a technique, which I absolutely detest these days. It was a technique which dealt with negative reinforcement. Whether or not maybe I didn't use the technique correctly, but I believe I did, but I got myself very badly bitten. There was another time I was using it. A dog got away from me and I landed, it took me with it and I landed on the pavement and gave myself concussion. And at that point, I thought, something is not right. It's just not gelling.
The universe was giving you a message.
Yeah, I'll say. So I thought, I do like working with dogs. This is good. It's by this time I'd actually sold the shares in my business, so I was out on my own. And then for some reason, an email dropped into my email box and it was from you, Doggy Dan. And I thought, well, okay, I'll do an online course. It looked pretty reasonable, and off I went. And when I started, I really enjoyed it. It was the best thing that I'd ever done. It was simple. It spoke to the point and it wasn't using force, right? It was learning how to communicate with the dog.
Yes.
At a very basic level. And
yes.
I thought, wow, this is neat. This is really good. And I kept rolling through it and I was very dedicated. I'm not too sure how much time I put in a week, but I think I was the first person that actually got certified from you.
Yes, yeah? I think you may be, yeah.
Yeah, but it was fantastic. And the bit that I loved on energy and Jenny's contribution of, going through your life cycle and finding out at what point you were at, that was all just so, it was just so neat.
For those of you that are listening, Jenny's my wife, by the way, and she does a lot of, she's added some lovely pieces into the course, yeah.
Yes, yeah. The thing I liked about it, both you and Jenny they're very, very easy to approach. The course itself as an online program is incredibly easy to navigate. I actually joined another one, which I won't bother telling you which one it was, but I stuck at it. It was actually really good. It dealt a lot with energy as well. And I really zeroed in on that, but I couldn't work their stupid website.
Yeah.
It got me so frustrated.
Yeah.
Right. So I said goodbye. I've still got all the notes from it, but I'm not going back to that. Too hard. Too hard. Yeah. A concern I might have had about becoming a dog trainer, I actually lied about my age because I thought, oh, they won't ever accept me into the course because I'm too old.
Oh, no.
Seriously. But I see that there are a lot of older people in the course, which is really neat.
With age comes wisdom.
Thank you very much.
There are a lot of wise people in our program.
Yeah, well, I think I'm probably the oldest, I'll tell you.
Is that right?
Well, I won't tell you.
No, we don't.
What else can I tell you about it?
I think one of the things you've touched on there are a couple of things actually linked together, that as you become older and wiser, and there is a guy as well called oh, I'll put my foot in it now. The horse trainer, and Buck.
Yep.
Buck, he says the greatest trainers use the least force.
That's right.
And I thought, ooh, let me read that. And I read it a number of times. I think one of the things is when you're young, I mean, I used to be I pictured myself chopping wood with my grandfather, and my grandfather was very precise with the axe. He'd get the cut just perfect. Well, he was older. He was so much older. He was my grandfather. So he had, 50, 60 years on me. I was like this bull. I just had all this energy. I mean, I was quite happy just to take 3 huge hits to chop the wood up. Yeah. So I used up all this energy chopping wood. But as you get older, you go, yeah, I want to be more precise. I want to use less force. And the analogy of a dog trainer, of course, is this method, I believe, uses some of the least force. It uses none. It's about the mind. It's about winning that dog's mind connection, the relationship. So I think there is part of the reason there are some older people is because they are wiser in a way, and they've gone, I don't want to
we haven't got as much energy to spend,
and we don't and they don't want to be wrestling dogs on the floor doing all these alpha rolls and dominating the dogs. So there is partly another reason for it. We do have some young people on the program, and I take my hat off to them because they're almost the smart ones who are young, and they have the energy and the enthusiasm. But I just had to tie that together. But so that was one of your concerns. How is it going now? I mean, I kind of know, but would you be happy to share with how it's going for you?
To be honest, I've got more clients than I know what to do with. I like to, no, seriously, I can't do more than 2 a day.
No.
I ideally like to do, let's say I did 2 a day, then I'd like to have a day off, and then maybe do 1 a day off, that sort of thing. But just looking at, because we've been in lockdown here, it's all ganging up again, and I'm beginning to feel like I'm back at work. And I don't want that, because it's, for me, I love it as a hobby, and I'm learning it all the time. My goodness.
How do most of those people find you? Do they?
Well, when I put my website together, which is a long time ago now, the guy who put it together for me said, Alessina, if you can get some reviews, this is the Google link. So if you get a review, can you ask the people just to copy it onto Google? And that's what I've done. And I think, beautiful. I mean, on my website itself, I don't know how many reviews I've got. I don't know, a lot. But I know on the Google website or the Google link, I've got 20, maybe 25, which people phone up, and I always say, where did you get my name? And they, oh, Google, which is brilliant. Good.
Yeah.
But I'm also getting referrals now from 2 local vets.
Yes.
And also just people that I've helped, or dogs that I've helped. They've told people.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Yeah.
And I guess so much of it comes down to if you're doing a good job. Is that fair to say? Would you say?
Well, I hope I'm doing a good job. Yeah.
I mean, I guess what I'm meaning is you only get those referrals from the vets and from other people and stuff because word's out there that Alessina does a great job. So
she's done something right. Yeah. I've also got some really cute little business cards. And, if I see someone in the park that's not doing a very good job with their dog, I approach them and say, would you like me to help? Here's my card. And I've got some work like that as well. But I'm not chasing work.
No, like you say, you've got enough to last you. Yeah. Tell me, in terms of job satisfaction, how do you find the dog training compared to, say, the
publishing?
The publishing.
Well, it's very different. I mean, publishing, I was in a tunnel just using repetitive stuff over and over, and I was very, very good at it. But dog training, you use emotional stuff, you use spiritual stuff, you use intellectual stuff, you use all sorts of stuff.
Different parts of the brain. Yeah, it's true.
Wonderful. It's wonderful. And the other really neat thing about it is you're always meeting different people.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something. One of my most interesting consults this year was in a brothel. Not
I
for me.
don't know if I should say tell me more or not.
It was absolutely dreadful. It really was awful.
Were you in a brothel?
Well, I didn't know I was in a brothel till I got in there.
Oh, I see. Yes, of course. Got you now. Yeah.
Yeah. But the guy was high on coke, and oh, look, it was a total mess. I couldn't get out of there fast enough. But
You do. I must say, one of the things I love about this program is, I would do 2 clients a day, and one of them might be in the poorest area of Auckland, which is where I live and work. And we're talking poorer than I kind of realized were living in Auckland. They barely had food to put on the table, but they were feeding their dogs. They loved their dogs, and they're paying for me to be there. And I was just wanting to give them a discount, do it for free, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then I pretty much went there to one of the richest houses, most expensive houses in the country.
Yep.
And that sums it up. Same day, I went from there to there. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
We're talking of multi-million-dollar garage, multi-million-dollar swimming pool, house, multi-million-dollar garden. Was it a garden shed? Yeah. There's 3 large buildings which were not the house before we got to the main house. So yeah, it's fascinating. And then you get the whole range of people, of course, like you say, that not just the wealth, but the most lovely, kind people who just want to give you some food and drink, keep you there.
Well, I ended up in a TV personality's house. I didn't know who the person was.
Yes.
The little girl piped up, "Have you seen my mommy?" I thought, oops, I better say something like I had, but I didn't know her from a bar of soap.
No.
Anyway.
It is funny.
But I do, sorry, Dan. One thing I do struggle with, though, and especially, in these COVID times, is whether to charge or not. Sometimes, because of the position I'm in, that I don't really need to charge, I wonder, I don't know, whether they really can afford it. I give away a lot of information over the phone that perhaps other people would charge for, but I think that's okay.
Totally. There's a lot of decisions like that you have to make, whether how much time and space and energy and you give to each person.
Yeah.
And it's an individual thing. There's no right or wrong, which is part of what the program, I guess, has always been, my style has always been to give you people a framework and sort of say, here's my framework, take it, run with it, and then adapt it, add to it, and you mold it to fit you, your lifestyle, your personality, the country you're in and your situation. And I think that's what I love about it, that this program, I work with a lot of different people in the Dog Trainer Academy, and everybody's taken on a completely different flavor of the same course.
Yes.
They really have. I mean, the difference is phenomenal. Some people are running puppy classes. Some people are doing boot camps. Some people are doing doggy daycares, almost with it. It's more like a doggy daycare kennel style in their own home. Other people are just doing something completely different, more like you do and more like I did, driving around people's houses, doing the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff, helping aggressive dogs, pulling on the leash, barking. So there's a lot of flexibility there, I'd say. And
there's a huge amount of flexibility, and because the 5, whether you want to call them golden rules or whatever you want to call it, but the foundation stuff, because it's so simple, it can be adapted easily. The dog calming code is something, or the 5 golden rules, which is the dog calming code, is something you can take. I've gone on to army bases, and they can't control the dog on the army base, and these are the military men with an army dog, and I can see what's wrong, and it's quite phenomenal. I've come to the realization that, of course, sometimes I'm not able to help, or it's a very tricky situation, as it can take a lot of time, but I rarely will say no, because once you've got this under your belt, this is the foundation, and so many dogs have a part of that missing. Yeah.
So there's very few places where I say, no, there's no way I'd know what to do. Nearly always I'll turn up and have a look and go, yeah, I can actually see what's going on here. Yeah, so I hear you.
Yeah.
So what would you say, Alessina, to somebody who's kind of sitting on the fence, not sure, a bit concerned for one reason or not another that they may not be able to do it? What would you say to somebody who's
I'd say, look, it's a very simple way of approaching a relationship between two species. It is very, very, very simple. It's not hard. You don't have to read textbooks. You just have to look at the videos and just get a grasp of it. If you're going to join the DTA, the website is extremely easy to navigate. It doesn't take up a lot of time. And it's something anybody could do. You don't have to be a genius to do it. You don't have to pass a test or anything like that. It's not scary. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think over the years, what I've come to feel is the most important thing is the love of dogs and people. That combination. You need to have
I would actually say, honestly, it's love of people first.
Yeah.
And then dogs, because if you don't get through to the person, you're not.
I know. Yeah.
You know, I often say to the people that I go to see, look, please listen to me. Please follow what I'm saying. It's very simple, because I'll tell you what, when that door closes, I'm not here anymore. It's your dog, not mine.
And that's where what you did with the dog is not as important as the connection you made with people, and whether you got them on side and whether they're listening and following you. And and so, yeah, we do our best to cover off a lot of that and how you can do that in the training, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that's where the consultations where I've videoed myself turning up and knocking on somebody's door, that for me is gold.
Yeah.
That you can see my style and then adapt it and go, oh,
yeah.
Is that how do you actually turn up in somebody's house, create that connection and get them on side? And
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've only had one where I really, really blew it. And that was, they had a rescue dog, but they didn't tell me, they also had two other dogs in the house. And I knocked on the door and this dog flew at me, and it was a big dog. And I had just to stand my ground and say, you put your dog on lead or I'm out of here.
I should say, we do have a big safety section in the Dog Trainer Academy.
That's right. Yep.
It's a very big safety section, almost foolproof, almost foolproof for yours.
So there's two things that I would impart there. And that is, one, when you go to see a new dog or any dog, have the owner put the dog on lead. Yeah. And number two, tell someone where you're going.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Yeah. No, I've had some crazy moments, but a lot of excitement, a lot of fun. Love it. I think that is one of the things I love about the job so much, that you can tell a certain amount chatting on the phone, but when you turn up to somebody's house, you just don't know what's going to happen next.
That's right.
And anything can happen next, not just with the dog, we're talking with the people as well. So,
oh God, yes. And you hear all sorts of stories.
Yeah.
You almost become like, Mother Teresa or something.
I was going to say, you become a cross between a saint, a marriage counselor, a psychologist, and you can end up being a bit of a gardener if you end up in the garden talking about plants, whatever. That's right. Wherever you want to take it. It's it's one of the most beautiful things for me is you actually get it's almost like you get let in behind the scenes of the house.
That's right.
You get let into the inner circle of that family unit. And even if there's only two people there as a couple, they let you in. They have to, because they have to tell you the secrets of what's really going on. When you say you need to do this, and one of the partners will say, yeah, but I do this, but he's soft. He's a softie.
Yeah.
And he'll be there going, yeah, I just love the dog. I like to roll on the floor. And you start to get the dynamics you let in, and I just love the honor of being let into that.
Yeah.
It's very different from kind of maybe being at, well, you're in the house off, nearly all the time. You're in their house, in their home, having a cup of tea. So it's very different from being in a sterile environment at a car park, walking around with a dog on a lead at night.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're in, I mean, yeah, it's a real honor. You're in the house, by the fire, in the rocking chair or whatever, chatting away. And yeah. So wonderful, Alessina. Anything else you'd add?
To people who are thinking of coming in?
Yeah.
I'd say it's one of the best programs out there. As a foundation, you can go on to other things, but if you can't grasp this, forget it. You can ask a dog to sit forever, but that dog's not going to respect you. You've got to get that dog to come alongside you. And that's where you stress the calm energy. You go in a calm way, and the dog, after a minute or two, just crashes. And the owner says, "Oh, I've never seen my dog like that before."
Never seen that before. He's never done that before. Yeah, one of those famous quotes.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Alessina. So anybody, I've got gooddogtrainingtips.com. Anybody want to check out Alessina's website out or get in touch with her? Appreciate you sharing today, Alessina. It's been fantastic catching up.
That's no problem at all. I've got some other ideas for you, but perhaps another time, or? Yeah,
I'll stop the recording now, and we can have another chat. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. Let me just press stop recording.